Now, continuing our conversation about creative pursuits, my pop culture pick of the week is Charli xcx's new album, Music, Fashion, Film. And when I think about it, this album really found me at the exactly perfect time. My 8-year-old self has been asking where the dream went, while Charli is asking what the dream means when you actually get it. When I first listened to Music, Fashion, Film, I was like, okay, this is interesting. Not my fave Charli album. Second listen, wait, no, I actually like this. And my third listen, okay, this is amazing. And this album is looking at something really profound. I had fallen more and more in love with this album the more I listened to it. As I wrote this review, I fell more in love with the album. It is so incredibly well done, and the messages are so important. And look, the album doesn't provide answers. It asks a lot of questions. Charli, a woman the same age as me, questioning her life, her relationship with art, the line between performance and herself, the influence of fame, her role as a wife, and really, what is this all for? And ultimately, that is what artists are here to do. They are here to share art that represents themselves, especially pop stars. Pitchfork's Anna Gaza, I think is how you say her last name. She made this distinction between actors and pop stars. I thought it was very interesting. I think that's as clear a distinction as you could make between an actor's job and the pop stars, representing a version of someone else versus representing a version of themselves. I think that is just, I've never thought about it that way. And for so long, I wanted to be an actor where, of course, you're representing someone else. But I always felt like you carried a bit of yourself into that, which is true. Acting can be very therapeutic in the ways that you can kind of express your emotions through a character. But really, pop stars, they are totally representing themselves. And I think that that must be incredibly scary at times because you're really putting yourself out there in the most raw version possible. And that's what Music, Fashion, and Film felt like. It felt like it was Charli unplugged. I mean, all her music is very personal, but there was something really, I wouldn't say unfinished, but raw about it. And after the huge success of Brat, it felt like she kind of just stripped it all back to show us the difficult questions that she's been asking herself. Take, for instance, Wink Wink. Charli spoke about how this song reflects on past relationships and the pressure she felt to be someone that the men she dated always wanted her to be. She often felt misunderstood by partners until she met George Daniel, her now husband, who finally got her. I mean, what woman cannot relate to this? I feel like I morphed myself into so many versions of myself prior to meeting Jeffrey. And with Jeffrey, I never had to pretend. I felt this ease that I had never felt before, and I could always just be unapologetically myself. We then moved to I'm Afraid, which brings a whole new path of fear, the fear that she will ruin the love that she's found with George. You finally find the person who understands you, but what if you fuck it all up? And these juxtapositions she calls out. I'm a wife, I'm a kid. I'm destroyed, I'm a bitch. I'm a drunk, I can't sleep, I can't feel, I'm afraid. We are told we can only be one thing. And we're often only shown that we can be one thing. I think being a wife carries a certain pressure to it. This idea you have to have it all figured out. You're entering this new phase of your life. I'm a wife, I'm a kid. I feel that so viscerally. I'm getting married next year, and I've felt this pressure to almost need to settle down. And a part of me wants that. A part of me wants to start a family. I don't even like to describe that as settling down, but for the premise of this, I will. But the other part of me feels like a kid who wants to explore the world, who can't figure out who she wants to be or where she wants to be. Jeffrey and I are discussing putting everything in a storage unit after we get married and just living abroad in different places for a few months at a time. Yet I just have this immense pressure that I need to have it all figured out. And I think that's why I loved music, fashion, film, because the album inherently doesn't have it figured out. But there is one question Charli has answered on her album, and it's the reason she keeps creating art. Charli referenced a Bill Cunningham documentary as one of the films that inspired her album. I quote, "This is a guy who just loved taking photos. He just wanted to do it. And I think that has been something that has really inspired me throughout making my record. It's like, why do I want to do the things I want to do? I want to do them because I love them, because they bring me so much joy. They make me feel alive. They're the things I care about." And isn't that what life's about? Doing the things that bring you joy, pursuing what makes you feel alive. I feel like Charli is challenging us to do the same, because even someone as successful as Miss Charli xcx doesn't have it all figured out, but she keeps coming back to art and putting herself out there. And clearly the world is responding. The final song on the album, No One Lasts Forever, ends with words of guidance from filmmaker and horror auteur David Cronenberg. In the song, Cronenberg recounts lying on a sidewalk and reflecting on mortality. He says, "As I was laying there on the sidewalk, I did not think about art at all. I thought about people. I thought about life, and that's why I like being so close to my house. Somehow that was comforting, even though it makes no sense, you know? But no, I wasn't thinking about art, and I wasn't thinking about art as endurance, as immortality. I mean, we could talk about immortal artists of various kinds, and it can turn out that yes, some artists have created art that has really survived thousands of years, and that's fantastic. But experientially, for them, they are dead. They are gone. They are not experiencing that." Cronenberg ends his part by saying, "Hear me assuring you that oblivion is freedom. They are dead. They are gone. No one lasts forever." I think what he is trying to say, and what Charli is trying to tell us, is that we spend so much time evaluating ourselves, scared to put ourselves out there, scared to live. But ultimately, as Cronenberg says, no one lasts forever. There's freedom in that to me. What matters the most are the people in your life. The art you choose to share should feel like freedom. It won't last forever, so try new things. Keep reinventing yourself. Don't feel the need to define who you are. And in an album that looks so closely at the roles Charli has played and the way she has been defined, this final song really felt like a song that was giving her and everyone listening the permission to create without boundaries. As the lyrics say, "That's why I'm not scared of anyone, because nothing's going to last forever. But you need to discover that feeling of the crushing highs and lows of ego, where one minute you're the worst and the next minute you know you're better." As always, Charli gives us so much to think about and really sets us all free. I highly encourage people to go listen to this album and do it a few times, because the message gets clearer to me every single song. Even as I was sitting here evaluating this album, I thought of another song on it called Card Declined and what it means, and this idea of defining yourself. And I feel like this song, again, is a message of defining yourself through the things you own. And at first, when I listened to it, I thought, you can't buy a personality in a way, because she says, you know, a personality, but I also think a vibe, who you are. Like, buying these things doesn't define your kind of aura, but it also doesn't define who you are. And none of it really fucking matters, to be honest. And again, it ties back to this message of what really matters and how we define ourselves. And I hadn't even realized that until right this very second. So my point is, keep listening to it, because more and more messages will arise.